afternoon and welcome. I'm Dr. Tracy Butts, Dean of the College of Humanities and Fine Arts, and today I have the pleasure of talking with Professor Megan Zollinger, dance faculty in the Department of Music and Theater here at CSU Chico. Welcome, Professor Zollinger. How you doing?
Thank you. I am doing excellent. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad that we have this opportunity to talk some about the things that are happening over in music and theater, but more specifically in dance. So Megan, how long have you been on campus?
I arrived in fall 2017, so this about 3.5 years is where I am right now.
Okay, and I believe that this is a big year for you.
Yes, I've applied for tenure and promotion, so I'm waiting on that. Have submitted everything, and as the only tenure track faculty in dance on campus, I'm really thrilled that the position is even an opportunity for me. So very exciting.
I think we're very fortunate to have you here. So for those people who may not know, and especially since, right, we used to have a dance program and things happen, and with us moving towards, restarting that, could you talk some a little bit about dance at CSU Chico and about, let's see, the life of a dance professor?
Sure, I'm happy to. Dance really came back. Many dance courses remained in kinesiology when the dance program dissipated years ago. And then when musical theater became a degree here, it was very evident that the theater program needed to bring a lot of dance in the training as well. So that started to develop over time. And when I got here, there had been a dance minor that was kind of sitting, not much was happening with it. And I decided to connect with kinesiology and work together with their program to create a dance minor that would serve both departments, to kind of bridge together the courses that were already in existence and really just help promote on campus that we had a dance program. There are so many student-led dance groups already here. And so connecting with them, letting them know that this minor was going to be a new option for them was really exciting. So that was something I was really excited to do. The dance minor is housed in the theater department, so I work just as equally with theater and musical theater. I choreograph a lot of the musicals. I've also directed here, and then brought back a faculty dance concert. We've had one so far. We are, fingers crossed, going to have our second Unity in Motion fall of 21. And that's a combined collaborative dance concert across campus and in the community as well. So there's a lot of exciting things going on.
Oh my goodness, I went to the last one. I loved it. And I remember one of the dances that really, so there were a number that I loved, but there was the one with the graduate student in kinesiology, with the all white and the umbrella. It was a beautiful dance. Oh
yes.
My gosh. It was gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes. It was a wonderful program. And the music department got involved as well. They created a collaborative piece and performed live for one of the numbers. And it was a really, really joyous time, especially because it came up right after the campfire. It was kind of a project that we needed to make happen and did. And I was very, very fortunate to have that.
And if memory serves me correctly, you all had a really short rehearsal window for that because of the campfire, right? Because campus was closed for 2 weeks or so, I think, during that time period, which would have been the time that you all would have been getting into your dress rehearsals and all that stuff.
Yeah, the musical Charlie Brown's Christmas was going up right before us, and so they lost a lot of time as well. Fortunately for the dance concert, we actually rehearsed over the whole span of the semester, but it's a short window. It's once a week, only for a couple of hours, versus the musicals that are 5 nights a week for 5 hours at a time. So we had a lot of lead time, which was great. It shortened the technical part and our time getting into the theater and putting all of that together. But honestly, I was so impressed with the collaborative nature and everybody just, let's make it happen. Let's do this. Let's work together. It was one of the most positive tech processes I've ever been through, which those are tough. So that says a lot.
Yeah, you know, it's so we go from the campfire to COVID-19, right? And so I'm curious to know, are you still dancing? Are you still teaching dance? I mean, I know the answer to this question, but
Yeah, fall semester looked quite a bit different than spring. When we transitioned quickly in March last year, we didn't have a lot of prep time, as we all know, and so it was a scramble of learning Zoom, which is odd to say that just 9 months ago I hadn't even created a Zoom meeting ever before, and now I feel like we just live on here. Helping the students adjust. So it was a lot of moving furniture and kicking ceiling fans and trying to tap in a kitchen with neighbors and noise and learning all the technical aspects of that. But we did it. And then having summer to prep a little bit more, I'm actually able to be in the studio on campus, although all the dancers are still on Zoom. It gives me a little bit more freedom. I have a lot more space. It's important with dance that the students can see my entire body. And in the condo I was in at the time, I couldn't even get a computer 5 feet away from me. So it was challenging, but now that I'm in there, they actually feel a little bit more at home because they're looking at me in the space that they feel is home to them, and also allows me to shoot cameras from different angles, utilize the mirror so they're not having to turn things around, and it's just a much better process now. And so things have just kind of grown, and as we've learned better microphones or sound systems or ways to collaborate, it's just gotten a little bit better, and leaning on all of my other colleagues that are in the same boat has been nice too, to help each other.
yeah. So I mean, I'm going to come back to your comment about leaning on your other colleagues, but
Yeah.
but right now I'm curious to know what kind of challenges have you sort of encountered in making that pivot from face-to-face instruction to online instruction?
I think the first big one was all the students trying to figure out where and how they were going to take class at home, and finding a safe enough space or a proper floor system that was going to be safe for them, but also enough room, and kind of adjusting what we were going to be able to do. Because even though I had a little bit more room to move around, I needed to acknowledge the fact that a lot of these students were still in their bedroom and had 2 feet between their dresser and a bed. And how do we create a course that they're still going to be able to learn, but we embrace the challenges that they have? And so kind of adjusting what we were going to get through amidst the turmoil of students just already having the added stress, and learning to be online was another challenge. And I think for me, I was just speaking to a colleague about this yesterday. It's dance and theater. It's such a hands-on, it's an interaction. And with Zoom, so that they can all hear me, they live muted. So I'm in the studio pumping up and yelling and playing music, and I'm literally hearing nothing back from anyone, and realizing how much I also rely on that energy that we create in the course. But the more we've gotten used to it, and I think the students have been able to still find that community that we feel and that support system in the class, while still getting through the things that we feel are important for curriculum. So I would say those two were probably the bigger challenges at first. And then learning to embrace where we're headed as opposed to fighting it. I mean, sure, there were rough weeks that were very difficult, but then going, okay, well, how can we make this better? Because even if we all of a sudden miraculously are back full time, I believe a lot's going to remain online. So what can we do with this? What guest artists can we bring in that I normally wouldn't ever be able to get a hold of or even afford? So that's been nice.
Yeah, I think you kind of anticipated my next question, which was going to be, what successes have you found? Any sort of like pleasant surprises in making that pivot to online instructions? Things that then you're thinking, maybe I'll keep this going forward.
Yeah. For a lot of the beginning classes, it's nerve-wracking going into any course, especially one that's performative in nature. For a lot of the students that were maybe a little bit more shy or had a hard time not comparing themselves to others, they really felt a little safer to be a little bit more vulnerable, because although there were other people on the screen, they weren't in a room being watched or feeling like other people are looking at them. And so I've heard a lot of feedback from students that appreciated the fact that they felt a little bit safer to try and didn't stress as much when they failed. And so that, I think that's been lovely. I think having the time to record these classes has allowed the students to go back and have time to review things that normally they would only have to rely on their memory or get together with someone else from class, which I also think is important that they're able to learn and maintain. But for people that work at different speeds and tempos, they have that ability that we didn't before. And when I go back and give them feedback, they can literally go back and watch themselves from a video they turned in. And I can say, right here at this exact moment, this is what I need you to fix, since I can't be hands-on with them. That's been really helpful too, so they can go back and evaluate themselves. And also, we had a choreography class that we normally do a site-specific work somewhere on campus, but everybody had Zoom, so as long as they had Wi-Fi, they could go anywhere. So it actually was really interesting to see what other opportunities came up because we weren't confined to one space.
It's been interesting the way that, right, this pandemic has really sort of exposed a lot of the inequities that exist, right? A lot of the barriers that people have to surmount. And at the same time, right, have really given us space to reimagine things and to really look critically at those places where those inequities exist and be able to look at them and to come up with ways of actually addressing them and resolving them. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that, you know, when I always say, you're my favorite dance teacher, because one of the things that I've always loved about you is just the way in which you really work towards supporting and embracing body diversity, right? I mean, I can look at the students in your productions. I mean, and there is a diversity of size, of experience, of backgrounds, of all of those things. And yet everyone has come together, right, with the idea of dancing and making art, and it doesn't matter. And so I think it is wonderful that students are able to, right, although you say work around the floor systems to make sure that they're safe, right, but they're able to sort of shed some of their inhibitions and self-consciousness about, you know, their bodies and just sort of give in to the music and to the art. That's pretty cool.
Well, and so many other dancers were creating free classes as well. So I could say, hey, that Saturday is a free class by this person, that this would, you know, other than being in a remote area, you know, the cost it would take to go take a class with some people, but it's also opened their eyes so far beyond what they understand is the dance world, and what, like you brought up diversity of and especially body type too, of there's a lot changing in the dance world. And I think that this has opened up everyone's eyes because of the amount of communication we can have, and they can see, oh, wow, that dance company doesn't look at all what I expected they would. And since there's so much change happening, it's been nice for the students to be able to access that and be a part of it.
Yeah. Cool. So earlier you mentioned something about leaning in on your colleagues across the CSU. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. So I was invited at the end of April, I believe. There was a big CSU arts leaders Zoom meeting. And so it was all sorts of arts and professors from across the whole CSU. And it was there that I actually reconnected with someone I went to graduate school with. And she is, like me, the only tenure track, she's now tenured, associate professor at CSU Channel Islands. And we're social media friends, but we really had kind of lost touch over the years. And so she she also just has a dance minor, and it's a smaller program, and she's kind of a one-woman team. And so we connected at that meeting and stayed on. She said, why don't, there's one other dance person in here. Why don't we shoot into our own little mini dance one? I'll introduce you. So this became a weekly meeting. And we decided, let's reach out to the other dance programs. I myself had no idea how many CSUs had dance programs as well. No one knew Chico had one because it hadn't had one in years. So we started leaning on each other every week. Okay, we're teaching tap, or there's an issue I'm having with this. Have you found a mic that works better here? Or how do you find the energy to get through a full day when the students are also needing you to motivate them? And so various things that led to, hey, why don't we create a collective? Why don't we make this a thing? And why don't we really showcase how much dance exists in the CSU and put together our own virtual dance concert? And so at the time, 14 of the campuses volunteered to put together work. Some worked it into their curriculum for fall, so they utilized class time to develop a work. They were all very different. Some faculty performed, but it turned into such a giant project that it streamed live over the span of 3 nights. So there were 3 concerts. They were all different. And it was an incredible way for us to connect to each other, first of all being in the same CSU system, but also to highlight just everywhere in California and the different environments and the different styles of dance programs that are out there, and just to invite maybe high school students that are thinking about, well, I'm going here for this, but I used to dance, and oh my gosh, now I see they actually have a program and I could take a class or be in a show. And so it was incredibly successful. I've made some amazing friends, and we're planning on doing at least once a year, if not once every semester. So it's going to be an annual thing for sure. And we're already in plans for the next one. So yeah.
And I believe that we're going to include a link that people can click on to see the CSU Collective dance performance.
Yes, there's the 3 separate concerts there's on our YouTube page, and I'll do the link. And Chico State was in the final performance, and we were, I think, the 3rd piece in, but it was something I was able to include my entire choreography seminar class in, and just turned into an amazing piece that I didn't see coming. And I think it all turned out exactly the way it was supposed to, and it happened because we all just embraced our situation and said, what can we make out of it? So yeah, it was fantastic.
And so what's some of the dance classes that we offer here at Chico State?
So we focus on all technique is equally important. Mm-hmm. So whether you want to go into classical training or commercial work or musical theater, we teach ballet, modern, jazz, tap. We've now introduced hip hop across the campus. The part of the degree, if they so desire, is a ballroom class. They have an intro to dance class, which is kind of like an overview of dance, cultural dance history. And then we have multiple levels of those. We also have a musical theater dance class, which just solely focuses on musical theater styles, as well as an ensemble where if you're ready to take it to the next step and want to learn to sing and dance at the same time, that's also an option. So we have quite a few. And
do you have to be a minor to take these classes?
You do not. You do not. Even the choreography seminar course, we offer all dance technique classes, and all the shows are open for anyone to audition for or to sign up and take. Also for the dance concert, I allow student work to be adjudicated. And like we just spoke of, the first Unity in Motion, we actually had 3 student pieces that were highlighted in that too, but you did not have to have taken choreography in order to present work. So they get to just, the options are endless. And if they want to eventually take that minor, it's there for them as well.
I'm going to take that hip hop class one day.
Yes, you are.
coming in there. I've come in because that's one of the things I miss about being on campus. I would leave my pack meeting on Tuesday mornings, and I go come into the office, and if I come in past the dance studio, right, I'd see you and your students, and what is it, that Rihanna song? I wanna take you away. Oh my gosh, I heard that song so many times. Even get the music. All right.
Yeah.
And I would just be standing out there,
Yeah.
just watching, like, oh my gosh. But
I realized I had to reassure everyone upstairs that at midterm we change all of our warm-up songs and musics right at the time when all the students and myself are pleased, let's stop the music at that point. Like it takes a while before I can listen to those songs again. Yeah, but yeah, that energy was great.
yeah, I do miss that, and I would love to come. I mean, I'm too old to do floor work, but anything up here, I'm ready for. I'm ready to do. So one
Awesome.
day,
I will hold you to it.
I'm gonna register for the class and come in with my workout gear.
I would love that.
Okay. So then, I guess as way of wrapping up, I mean, one day we'll be back on campus. But what do you see as the future of dance? I mean, because certainly we've talked about COVID and the impact that it's had, not just on our students, but I mean, in terms of the profession in general, right? Where do we go from here? Um, what's the future of dance at just in general, but also more specifically at Chico State?
I think we're going to find that so many of these collaborations and expansions of, being able to access Hamilton on Disney Plus. I think we're going to find a lot more of these shows being filmed and streamed to be more accessible for people that normally wouldn't get the opportunity to. I know families who have never been able to afford to take their children to see a Nutcracker because it's so incredibly expensive. But this holiday season, there were 5 or 6 major companies streaming it for free, which were some amazing, that's the time when little ones fall in love with dance and want to see themselves on stage. And I think that I'm very excited about the connections that, again, through the CSU, seeing the students meet each other and collaborate together, be excited about each other's work. I think that dance, I mean, a lot has gone down this year. Yeah. And I think a lot of very, very important change is happening. And the fact that we have access to so many resources and people to help change that world moving forward is really exciting. I think we're going to be back in person, but I think people are going to be so hungry for live theater and dance again, and music and art, and just walking through a museum. I do hope that continues to be supported as we return, but also looking at how can we make this more accessible for people that have a desire to go to these things or see them. And I'm brainstorming a lot with the dance concert for next fall, not knowing if we can have an audience or not, or maybe it's that we deal with weather and find a time to just put on live shows outside, or I mean, that stuff happens a lot in the summertime, but I think a lot more people are trying to find ways to make that work and be supportive that way. So I think more and more people, the more they are able to see dance and see theater and see themselves in different places, I just hope it continues to grow and be supported. But I don't have a doubt that we will get back soon. I mean, I just saw this lovely article that came out that the show Law and Order, that always tends to hire a lot of actors for small parts, has put out a mission statement that while Broadway is shut down, they will do everything in their power to hire as many Broadway stars as possible to be on the show, because they can film and do TV. So I think this cross support in the arts has become really important too, and is happening.
I think one of I don't want to say silver lining, but one of the things I think that COVID has reaffirmed for me is the adaptability of the work that we do, right? Particularly the work that we do in the arts and humanities, and while it may not be ideal for us to do a lot of the work that we do online, we can still do it.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, and we can find ways to continue to ensure that dance happens, that art happens, that poetry or fiction or other forms of other genres of writing still exist.
Yeah.
That is very heartening to us, right? Because regardless of where we are, what's going on, we can still do the thing that not only gives us life, right, but that gives other people life. And so all I know is I'm looking forward to the possibilities and to the future because, right, I mean, I look at the way in which we've tackled this COVID-19
Mhm.
pandemic and have found ways to be creative. And so, right, I'm looking forward to the possibilities.
Yeah, I found I recently was writing an article about it, and I found myself saying, I really got to a point where I was really sick of saying, at least it's better than nothing. At least we can still do this, while it was still hard. And at first that was a positive way of looking at our situation and what we had no control over. But I found my shift, I think, going from saying, well, it's better than nothing, to look at all this stuff that's happening that probably wouldn't have had we not been put in this situation. And so like you, I do think that that's going to continue even when things get back in person. So
All right. Well,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to the dance showcase at the end of the year. We don't know where or how, but
it's happening.
it'll happen. That's right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, and it was good
Absolutely.
to see you. And
So
enjoy the rest of your break and
fantastic.
what's left of break and your course prep and all that good stuff.
We're getting ready for tap on Zoom again. So, and hip
Okay.
hop.
Oh, oh, this should have been my semester here for hip hop.
I know. All
So,
right.
well, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye, Megan.
Bye.